Peace fam, it's your girl Kia, aka The Concrete Rose, and I'm back with another video. So as you guys can tell by the title, today I'm going to be talking all about ancestor veneration, how to honor them, how to keep their names alive, how to elevate their spirits, and, just show love to them. Show them that you're thinking about them, show them that you care about them. If you guys are sitting here wondering like, girl, who are the ancestors? What is that? What's going on? I posted a video a few months back talking about who the ancestors were. So I will link that video down below in the description box so that way you guys can check that video out. But today I'm just going to be giving you guys a couple ideas, a couple ways that you can venerate your ancestors and honor them and show love to them. So first and foremost, I want to say that this video is not going to be telling you how to create an ancestor altar, okay? I truly, truly, truly believe that, and I know that not all ancestors want to be placed on an altar, okay? Not all ancestors desire that. Not all ancestors work well on an altar, I know that it's a popular thing within the spiritual community to create an ancestor altar, and if your spirit is leading you to do that, go right ahead. But this is not that video. I'm going to be giving you practical ways, everyday, mundane ways that you can show love and honor to your ancestors. So first and foremost, I want to say that you can create art, you can paint, you can draw, you can create jewelry, you can do anything. You can even create with your body, like if you had an ancestor that loved to dance, and I think that something that's important to realize is that we are our ancestors' wildest dreams, y'all. So the things that your ancestors were not able to accomplish in their lifetime, it'll be so great if you did it in your lifetime. You understand? So for example, right, like I have an ancestor who was a creative. She was an artist, she was really good with her hands. She was an artisan, and she was known throughout the community to do those things. But she never really like created a business out of it or, anything like that. And I honestly have no idea if that was her plans, if that was her goals, but I know for a fact that I had an ancestor who was a creative. So in this lifetime, I'm showing up as a creative. I'm showing up and I am creatively expressing myself in ways that feel good for me. You get what I'm saying? And through my creative expression, I'm venerating my ancestors, so every time I create, that is me venerating my ancestors, Same goes for you. If you had an ancestor who in their lifetime, they were a creative, they were an artist, they had these wild ideas, in this lifetime, you can venerate them by creating, doing whatever they love to do. If you had an ancestor who was a dancer, maybe you had an ancestor who loved clubbing, girl. She loved going out. She loved doing things, Maybe you could get out. Maybe you could explore the town, like that's a way that you could venerate your ancestors. Also being able to writing, we have ancestors who back in the day, they didn't have the skills to write. They didn't have the privilege to write. They didn't have the time to write, whatever their circumstances were, so simply sitting down and dedicating 2 to 5 minutes to journaling, or to creating poetry or, something like that could also venerate your ancestors and keep their names alive. If you had ancestors who were into occult things, witchy things, you had an ancestor back there who you knew that every Friday or Saturday they were having get-togethers over their house and folks was playing cards and everything. You most likely have a card reader back there. So, maybe getting you a deck, and just playing with the cards, getting to know the cards, shoot, like being able to read, y'all. We have ancestors back there who were not proficient in reading, or maybe they love to read. You know, maybe you knew an ancestor who loved to read. They had, you know, a library full of books. They had bookshelves and books on top of books, you know. So just by you simply picking up a book, by you simply, you know, saying, hey, today I'm gonna go to the library and just see what I can find, you know, or I'm gonna go to Barnes and Nobles, or, you know, whatever bookstore you have next to you. I'm just gonna go there and, you know, pick up a quick book. Doing that can venerate them as well. You know, if you had an ancestor who struggled with depression, you know, who struggled with anxiety, who struggled with any type of mental health issue, right? Going to therapy, you going to therapy in this lifetime could be a way to venerate them. You know, being able to care about your mental health was something that our ancestors did not really have the privilege, you know, to do. I know in the Black community, mental health issues is something that is really looked down upon. It's something that is talked about, you know, oh, you just crazy, you know, go sit down somewhere, you just being over dramatic and overly sensitive. And, you know, like we grew up hearing these things. Our ancestors grew up hearing these things, right? So dedicating time to your mental health, you know, even if you don't have the money for therapy, you know, or to like go to the hospital and get a diagnosis and all of these things, right? Because we know how the system is set up, you know, simply just researching about different mental health topics, you know, different mental health issues, you know, if you have somebody in your life who is struggling with mental health issues, being able to give back to them, being able to love on them, you know, is a way that you can venerate your ancestors and, you know, show love to them and honor them as well, you know. So there's so many different ways, you guys, of venerating your ancestors, you know, simply taking care of your health, right? Going outside for a walk, you know, going outside for a run, going to the gym, you know, doing at-home workouts, y'all. Like, I've been doing yoga. I think I started my yoga journey, I want to say that was in 2023 or 2022. I think it was 2023 that I started my yoga journey. But like, some of our ancestors had major health issues, y'all. Some of our ancestors like passed away because they did not have the privilege of having resources, you know, to better their health. So being able to care for your health, being able to work out, being able to walk, right? Like, we probably have some ancestors back there that was in a wheelchair, you know, or they were disabled, you know. So just really loving on your physical body, loving on the fact that, you know what, I woke up today and I'm breathing, right? I woke up today and I get to sit in front of the sun. I woke up today and I get to go outside and get some fresh air, right? I get to go outside and hear, right? Like, maybe you have an ancestor who couldn't hear, you know, maybe you had an ancestor who didn't have full mobility of their senses. You get what I'm saying? Like, it's little stuff like that. It's little ways like that that you can pay respect to your ancestors. It doesn't have to be complicated. It doesn't have to be super woo-woo. You know, I mean, we grew up in the Black community hearing, you know, pouring one out for the dead homies. Like, that's also a way that we venerate the dead. We venerate the ancestors. You get me? Like, pouring out their favorite liquor. If you don't have liquor in your house, simply pouring out some water, you know, getting some cool water and saying, like, here's an offering to you, ancestors. May it cool your path. May it cool my path. May it benefit you. May it benefit me. You know, moving through this life, navigating this life. Yeah, y'all. Even if you have had ancestors back there, you know, that smoked a little weed, honey, you know, maybe lighten up a good blunt, you know, in honor of them. You get what I'm saying? Like, lighten incense, you know, maybe you had ancestors back there who lit incense all the time, you know. Even, it doesn't have to be like super, again, it doesn't have to be super woo-woo. It doesn't have to be like, oh, I'm building this altar and now I'm communicating with spirits and things like that. Like, Trust me, your ancestors are always with you. They're always around you. They are loving on you. They are watching you prosper and grow and change and evolve. And remember that your ancestors were human too. So simply just being able to live throughout your human experience, being able to honor the fact that you are experiencing this life, giving thanks for the blessings in your life, y'all. Like, I know the world is crazy right now. I know we all are dealing with our own bullshit, but honestly, you can name at least one blessing that you have in your life right now in this moment. Even if it is simply just having breath in your body, y'all, so yeah, there's like so many little ways that you can venerate your ancestors, that you can show love to your ancestors. But I just wanted to make this video in honor of my ancestors, and just to remind y'all that our ancestors are with us. They love us. They care about us. They have not forgotten us. Even the ancestors that you don't know, are rooting for you and loving on you. And as you continue down this ancestor veneration journey, they will definitely make themselves known to you, and you can build a deeper relationship and kind of take the scariness out of it. But yes, all right, before I go, I definitely forgot to show y'all I have 3 book recommendations, just in case you want to read as a way to venerate your ancestors. This book I've already done a little review on. This is called Conjure Women by Afia Adakora. This is a historical fiction. I think this book is so good as a way to look at the perspective of women who were slaves. Look at the perspective of our ancestors who were healers, our ancestors who were conjure women, our ancestors who had that magic and had to utilize that magic in order to survive. You get what I'm saying? So yeah, this is a really, really great book, and it's historical fiction, so it's a nice little read. Not too it do got some serious topics in there, like trauma and sexual assault and things like that, so trigger warning. But it's not so dense as nonfiction would be. The next book is The Book of Juju by Jujubee. This book is amazing. This book is such a good book if you are somebody who is just beginning on your ancestor journey. You don't even know what ancestors are. You don't understand how they could show up in your life, and how they direct you and guide you throughout this lifetime. This is such a great book, you guys, and I definitely recommend it to the beginners in the ancestral veneration journey. And then lastly, this is a book that I'm currently reading with a book club, and this is called The Conjuring of America, and this speaks on basically how America was built on the backs of Black women. Yes. So yeah, this is a really, really great book. And I feel like it's a good way to venerate the matriarchs in our family, the women in our family, the women ancestors in our family, who really had to navigate this life despite being stepped over, despite being looked down upon, even though they had the magic, even though they had the abilities and the strength and the resilience, So yes, y'all, I think that this book will be a really, really good book. This is very dense. This is a historical book. So it's a lot of history in here. It is a bit more serious, it's not like fiction or anything like that, but I just thought that these would be some really, really great recommendations. Okay, so you got the historical right here, you got the self-help, mind, body, spirit type of thing here, and then you have historical fiction here. So yes, y'all, now I'm really closing out the video, and I will see y'all in my next video. Peace.